Hey guys, I want to talk to you today about how to multiply binomials with two different methods that you can use interchangeably. So remember, a polynomial, poly means many, is just when you have more than one term inside of a math equation, okay, or a math expression. Now terms, you can see over here this word terms. Terms are always separated by a plus or a minus. So in this case, a binomial, bi means two. So a binomial, we have our first term, there's a plus sign, so that means now we've moved on to a different term. Here's our second term. Binomials have two terms. There's also something called a trinomial. Trinomials have three terms. And I know this because there's one term, here's a plus sign, so that means now I'm on my second term. And then there's a minus sign, so now I'm on my third term because again, terms are separated by plus or minus. So there's my plus and there's a minus in there, so I've got 1, 2, 3 terms. There's also something called a monomial. We worked with these a lot in Algebra 1, 1A. Monomials are only one term. And I know that because even though there's a whole bunch of stuff going on in here, I've got an a, I've got an x squared, I've got a y, there's only one term because there is not ever a plus sign or a minus sign. So this is all one thing. They're all being multiplied by each other. Okay? All one term. So let's go down and actually practice now with multiplying two binomials. So if we're multiplying two binomials, there's two different methods you can use for this. The first is what is taught on Khan Academy, and so I want to go over it. And this is called double distributive. So here we're multiplying the term x plus 3. This is a binomial. Here's term 1. Here's term 2. We're multiplying that by this binomial, which is x plus 6. So what I'm going to show you for double distributive is we're going to multiply this variable by both terms in the first binomial, and then we're going to multiply that by both terms, which looks like a lot of arrows, but we really just rewrite it like this. So here I've got my x times x plus 3. Okay, so there I took my first term of the second binomial, and I multiplied it by my first binomial. And then my second one, plus 6. Got to distribute that, so I'm distributing it by x plus 3. So now I actually do this. X times x is x squared. X times 3 is 3x. Plus 6 times x is 6x. And 6 times 3 is 18. Okay? So x squared plus 3x plus 6x plus 18. Now I'm not done because as you know, we always have to simplify. So if I simplify this, I've got x squared. This is my only term that has an x that's being squared. So I leave that, x squared. Now I've got two terms that have the label x. So I need to combine them. 6 plus 3, that gives me 9x. And then last of all, 18. I don't have any others that are just integers, so I'm going to just leave that as 18. And this is my answer. Notice that when you multiply two binomials, you actually get a trinomial. One term, two terms, three terms. Okay, the other way that we can think about doing this, let me just erase this. Okay, the other way we can think about this is by a method called FOIL. And FOIL is when you take the first term, the outside terms, I don't know why I chose to write this like that, the inside, and the last. Okay, so when we do this, let me rewrite the problem again. We've got x plus 3 times x plus 6. X times x gives us x squared. That's the first terms. First terms. This is first. Then my outside terms, x is an outside term, and 6 is an outside term. I multiply those. 6 times x is 6x. plus now I multiply my inside terms. 3 times x is 3x. And then my last terms, 3 times 6, 18. I have to simplify this by combining like terms. Notice that I get the exact same answer. FOIL is double distributive property. It's just a different way to think about it, okay? But they are the exact same thing. All right. Now, one thing I want to talk about are some special situations with this. Some special situations with multiplying binomials. One of them, situation 1, is when we have what's called multiplying the difference of squares. We've got x minus 5 and x plus 5. If you ever see this format, you are always going to get the same type of answer. And let's talk about what that is. So if we FOIL this, I'm going to get x squared. First outside gives me 5x plus 5x. Inside terms give me minus 5x. And the last terms give me minus 25. Now notice, I've got plus 5x and minus 5x. When I combine my like terms here, it's going to become x squared minus 25. These cancel out. This is the format that you will always get when you have two binomials, when you have x plus something times x minus that same thing, you will always get an answer that looks like this. And it's called the difference of squares because you have the square of the first term minus the square of the second term. X squared minus 5 squared, which is 25. Okay, so that's situation 1. Situation 2, let me just change colors. Okay, situation 2 is when you have, and we saw some of this in first try, or sorry, in second try. When you have x plus 5 squared, okay? Now, when you do this, remember, this is not a monomial. This is a binomial. We have one term plus a second term. This is not one term, okay? Because it's not one term, you can't distribute your exponent. You can't do it. You have to expand this entire thing because it's a binomial. What does that mean? That means that you take, remember, with exponents, the exponent is being multiplied by the base. In this case, our base is the binomial. So I have to do x plus 5 times x plus 5. That's what my exponent's telling me. It's telling me this base, x plus 5, is being multiplied by itself 2 times. Now, when I do this, if I apply my FOIL method, I get x squared plus 5x plus 5x. Remember, x times 5, that's outside, and then x times 5, that's inside. Plus last terms is 5 times 5, so that's 25. Okay, now when I combine these, I get x squared plus 10x plus 25. What that means is if you ever see this, the format that the answer is going to be in will always be x squared, or the first term squared, plus 2 times the second term, we'll call the second term a, 2ax plus a squared. This is always your format if you have something that looks like that. Okay, so that will help you understand the information with the special products binomials content for this week. I hope that helps.